Hey guys, what's up? Somebody give me a 5 for 5 and we'll go ahead and get started here. Guys, how's my volume? Is it too loud or whatever? If it sounds okay, let me know. I usually have it turned up high on purpose because you guys can, take it down some if you need to, but you really, if you're already maxed out at the top, you can't really do that. But yeah, guys, I know that this has been a minute. So I really would appreciate it if you guys would share the stream for me real quick. That would mean so much to me right now. I haven't had time to get here. And I'm just being straight honest with you. And we've got a new puppy in the house, and anybody that has dogs or anything new like that around, they know that it's like having a newborn. It's a big adjustment for me and my family. We haven't had a dog in 15 years. It's my daughter's first dog, as a matter of fact. So I bring that, saying that also, you guys can understand why, and obviously the holidays and all of that goes along with that. So if you guys could please share the stream, it would really mean a lot to me. And I want to say, first off, I want to say thanks to my brother in crime here, Tommy. Obviously, we do the channel The Lifeboat, and as I'm talking about that, I'll just bring it to you guys here right at the front real quick. This is the channel. We do recovery, addiction, anything addiction. You could be addicted to eating salt. I mean, you can be addicted to anything. We just try to, we're not anti anything. We're just trying to get people to understand that you can get addicted to anything. If you need help, come here. You're not judged at all. You could come here all jacked up if you want. As long as you're at least halfway respectable, you get to stay. We don't judge people. We want people there because we want to help those that are in that state of mind. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the space weather. I'll probably revisit this at the end too, just so you guys know. Oh, forgot to put the link in the chat. So let me drop the link here in the chat for you, and then yeah, we'll get going. I'm sorry I did it at the beginning, but I didn't want to forget because I haven't streamed in a while. I'm kind of out of like a little bit of a routine. We kind of get that sometimes. But there's the link to the Lifeboat. Please go check it out. I really would appreciate it. So anyway, just give us a chance over there. And anybody that's from there, thank you. We just did our first members only stream. So anyway, enough of that. Also, thanks to Marfugal, guys, and Ripper, and everybody else, and Ilea, and everybody's been just pushing each other out. And it's really helping all of our channels, I believe. So I just wanted to say that. Okay. Now, guys, we've had some strange stuff going on. And what I mean by strange, if you guys seen the title, we had the thumbnail there. I was talking about the X-Class flares. I actually made that yesterday, believe it or not, because I was going to try to stream yesterday and I just didn't get the chance. But if you guys, if you read the title, I mentioned something. It's a phrase that I myself just coined. I called it the Grand Mal Sun. Why did I call it the Grand Mal Sun? Sun as in the big glowing ball in the sky, not sun like I'm my mom's son. But because it gave us a really not almost say crazy, it's a pretty rare event. We got what they call a magnetic crochet. And I'll go into that in a little bit more detail here in a few minutes, but that's why I called the sun the Grandma Sun. So we will, we'll definitely revisit that here in just here in a few minutes. I want to make sure that you guys get to be able to understand what that is, because to be frankly honest with you guys, I didn't even know what that was until it happened, and I started researching it because I've seen it over on spaceweather.com, and just learning that was enough, because I mean, it was awesome. I love learning stuff like that, and that's just how that's how I roll. But trust my mods, guys. Keep the chat civil, please. Don't attack any other channel or each other. You can't say anything bad about any other channel. I don't allow that here because of obvious reasons. They're not here to defend themselves, and if they were, it's disrespectful. And please, no vulgarity. You know, all those rules that I talked about before. Essentially, be an adult. So I just, right? You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm sorry. I haven't did a stream in a minute, so I am kind of out of a little squirrel here a little bit, but I'm going to focus back in now and go right to the space weather. So here we go. The crochet event, like I said, we'll get into that in a minute, but I want you guys to take a look at this. This is the sun right now as we're looking at it. I don't believe I've ever shown you guys the whole time my channel's been up a sun that looks like this. Okay, and what do I mean by that? Look at all those sunspots. Now I know to anybody that's never seen this capture before, this kind of imaging, it probably doesn't look all that impressive, does it? Looks like a white disc. Yes, you know it's the sun, but you know, so what? There's a couple black little dots kind of peppering it a little bit. Well, in solar minimum, we had multiple days and even weeks without any sunspots showing up at all. So check these out. That's a lot of sunspots. That's what those are. So, and they're larger than what this image can really show you. I'll zoom in here a little bit and just kind of give you guys a better idea. You could probably fit, I would say, 2 to 3 Earths inside that sunspot right there. So that's to give you an idea, number one, how big the sun is. Number two, how big this thing is. And this is really showing you the core of it, of the sunspot itself. And we'll take a look at it again in some different imaging here in just a few minutes, but so you can get a better idea. Matter of fact, we can go right here to GOES. This is a satellite that actually hangs around Earth in orbit, but it's always looking at the sun. I think this is GOES 16. They have GOES 17 that they use a lot now also. But GOES 16, actually, guys, they use that for a lot of the weather reporting that you see. If you ever go over here to NOAA weather, this is where you're going to get your information from. A lot of this data and stuff comes from this satellite, a lot of the imaging. There's a whole GOES network of satellites that just kind of orbit our planet. And I'm not going to go into what kind of orbits and things like that, but they are there. And they just switched over really pretty much to using GOES 17 now. Obviously, it's a machine, so it does go bad. Eventually, these things end up just gone. So, but as you can tell, guys, look at that. Okay, this is the 195 angstrom. It's an extreme ultraviolet light is what this is looking at. It's using extreme ultraviolet light to see a specific gas. And they could assign this any color they wanted. They decided to assign this one like a goldish color. Okay. They could have made it green, purple, blue, whatever they wanted to do, they can. It's just looking at that part of the light spectrum, extreme ultraviolet, that our eyes can't see. And what it lets us do here gives us a visual. And we can look at different angstroms to see different gases, so we can kind of put the picture totally together. And as you can tell here, guys, I've never shown you a sun this active. Ever. Okay? The whole time I did my channel, the sun is more active at this second than it ever has when I showed you guys anything in the past. Now, with that being said, this does not mean that this is not what we expected to see. Okay? We are moving into solar maximum. We're actually, right now, we're on the precipice of, there's a 5.9 month, sun cycle inside of the main sun cycle where the sun gets even more active. And we're at the precipice of that right now. So roughly about every 6 months, you see the sun really fire up, and then it'll slow back down a little bit more. Fire up, slow back down. About every 6 months it does this. Okay? But as we're looking at this is a really short loop. This isn't giving us a very good visual on what I want to show you guys today. But this is over here at NOAA Space Weather Prediction. Okay? Now, before we move on, what I do want to show you before we come off of this particular website is this. Okay, we've had 3 X flares in a week. Really like 3 or 4 days. I can't go back any further than a couple days right here, but an X flare is here. Okay, see the X flare? And so that one did, I think this one was an X 1.6 or something like that. So I could be, I could be a little off on that number, but also I don't want to glaze over the fact that there are a ton of M-class flares happening, just popping off like it's a, you know, like firecrackers. It really truly is. It looks almost like a Christmas tree blinking. And I'll show you more of that here in just a second. But the reason why this is important to understand is because you see the base level where we're at with our X-rays? That's what this is showing you. This is X-rays. Okay? And that's how they gauge how strong a solar flare. Remember that part too. Flare. Not CME or coronal mass ejection part. The flare part. The flare part is X-ray. Okay? It's here in 8 minutes. Okay? It's moving at the speed of light. It's radiation. It's X-ray. Just like if you go to the hospital and, you know, broke your arm or something, they take a picture. They're using X-rays. And that's why this is so important. If you guys can kind of tie that together in your mind, you know, X-ray equals radiation. Well, there's a, you know, if you go to the hospital, they don't want you getting the X-ray unless they absolutely have to anymore, because they understand that that can actually damage you. So understand this. And, you know, and Michael Blackwell just made a great comment. Listen, there is absolutely no doubt. It is 100% fact through multiple studies, whatever side of the coin you're on, solar weather affects us physically. Okay, some are more sensitive than others. It definitely affects us mentally also, which in turn, if it's messing with you mentally, guess what? Your own mind can make you sick too, make you feel bad. So all this is playing into this. So if you've been feeling a little off this past week, like I'm talking like not just with seasonal depression or anything like that, high anxiety, you know, even nausea, headaches, body aches like you've got the flu, this can cause it. Okay, there are people who are more sensitive to magnetic stuff than what others are. So then that's kind of what you're seeing. So just keep that in mind. And I'm not going to get into too much detail on that because it is a huge rabbit hole to go down. And there's a lot of good data on it. So if you guys are feeling bad, you know, don't go blaming it immediately on the sun. I mean, know what you're talking about if you're going to say, hey, the sun's making me sick. Just research it for yourself, not for anybody else. Do it for yourself so you understand. I try to do the best I can. I am not educated in any kind of higher capacity whatsoever. I get things wrong sometimes. Well, you know, maybe a lot of times. I don't know. But what I will say is that when corrected, I take criticism very well. And I do want anybody that sees anything that I've said or done that's wrong, and you can explain it to me the correct way to where, you know, it's thought out, it's you know, it's just there. Okay? Please criticize me. I want to know. If I'm wrong and I look at it and I decide I'm wrong, I'm going to come back and tell you guys. Okay? So please just understand that. I want the criticism. Now, I know it's butt backwards or back-asswards, however you want to say it, than what most other channels are going to tell you, but that's me. Okay? I want to get it right. I don't want to get it wrong, and that's why I'm here. So, yeah. If anybody has higher education than me or just has better information, let me know and show me where I'm wrong. Don't just say, hey, you're wrong and walk out, because I don't have respect for that whatsoever. That's just you know, that's what I call a hit and run troll activity. But anyway, please do that for me and for everybody else that's here. But here, this is the X-ray that I was just showing you guys. This is geomagnetism. They're different, right? Geomagnetic activity is usually what we see with CMEs, coronal mass ejections. X-rays, again, is flares. They did not know that these were two separate events until like the Carrington event came along. That's when they started to see that, because they had better technology and all those kinds of things back in 1859, believe it or not, right? That's where they separated a flare from a CME. It needs separated because they are two separate things, because I'm getting ready to show you these X flares. Most of these X flares didn't even produce a CME at all. So once the X-rays hit us and was gone, it's over, right? Nothing else is going to happen. Even though it was an X flare, this M flare over here, you see how, if you see this right here and you see it's kind of drawn out instead of just up and down like this X flare is, that's what we call a longer duration solar flare. And usually with those, you're going to get a CME. With this one in particular, I can't tell you for sure, but also with these longer durations, sometimes we get radiation storms, which is measured by the proton flux right here. And if you see right here, and then down here, you see how we kind of had an uptick? There was a higher M class, longer duration flare right behind it here too. Okay, so it did happen. It did increase stuff. So that's showing you that an M class flare, given a eruption, a CME with it, a lot of times can be just as bad, if not worse, as far as getting hit by geomagnetism than an X flare. So it just depends on what the conditions are. We have to understand that. Now, I'm sorry if I kind of burnt through that a little bit. If I confused anybody, I do apologize. I do realize that I was using probably some words there that might not everybody understand, but there was no other way to explain that. I have to use that vocabulary. So I do, I just try to bring it down to where everybody can just understand basic stuff. That's all I'm trying to show you guys, is a basic thing. I'm not getting into the detail stuff because I can't. Okay, I could if I studied and studied, like I'm going to show you magnetic crochet here in a few minutes. But again, anyway, here on this one, these down here, these are 3-hour plots. So I've been showing you guys this other one, this German site. These are 30-minute plots, which I think is cool. It gives us a more real-time idea of what's going on. So let me zoom in here because you can go back multiple days. And what I want you to understand is, guys, we've had, like I said, 3 X flares in however many days. Do you guys see the geomagnetic activity here? Going back days. We had a low-level G1 storm, but yet we've had 3 X flares. That in itself should tell you that a flare and a CME are 2 different things. Okay? The flare hit and there was nothing behind it because no plasma got ejected, which is what we call a CME. So, yeah, and it's coronal mass ejection. What that means is that's the corona of the sun. It's the atmosphere of the sun, it's plasma, and it shoots out, right? So that's what we're looking at there. But these are 30-minute plots. That's a 4 on the KP. A 5 is low-level geomagnetism storm, which is a G1. If you guys want to know the levels, you can come over here. They're here. They correspond with the KP number. Just like a thunderstorm chart. Something else before I move away from this site. You guys see this down here? R1, R2, 65% chance. R3 or greater, 30% chance. Now, if you don't know what an R1 or an R2 is, that's a radio blackout condition. Those are radio blackout storms. Okay? R1 and R2 fall in M-class flare range. R3 or X-class flare range. We very seldom see this sitting at 30%. Usually it's like 5 or lower. So understand that there is a significant chance that we're going to see more. Okay? Now, they're not expecting a whole lot of geomagnetism unless we get a big one coming, right? And I'm going to show you some decent sized ones here in just a minute. Let me back off. Okay, I already did. All right. This is the Discover graph. What you got here, guys, is, you got your BZ. That's the angle of our magnetic field. Yeah, I'm not going to get into detail on that, but we look for -6 here. Okay? When it's at -6, that just means our magnetic field, our magnetosphere and all that is in the correct angle for stuff to really come into our system really easy. Okay? So when you see -6, that's when we're more susceptible to taking on those kinds of hits. Now, if it's not there, it doesn't mean we can't take a hit. Sometimes the hit itself will actually change the BZ. Okay? So if we get hit hard enough from the right situation, it could actually tilt us in a position that, Now I'm talking our magnetic field, not the Earth itself. Okay, so don't freak out over that. But if you take this, you gotta, if you take it and you move it down to a certain level, to a certain angle, that's kind of how I look at it in my own mind, and that's what this is trying to show you. So when it's in a negative position right there, that means our pole is open, magnetic pole is open straight to what this stuff is coming in at, the angle that it's coming in at. Okay, so we know that geomagnetism comes into our system way easier on our poles. That's just, if you look at a dipole, a bar magnet, where you got north and positive and negative, you got two poles there. Stuff moves and gets into that magnetism easier on the pole ends of that magnet. Okay, so things get sucked into that. Maybe suck isn't really the proper word there, but it definitely is. Yeah, that's definitely what's going on there. There's no vacuum going on there. It's just moving because magnetism has a positive and a negative, right? So when things are moving from the sun, which is plasma is a charged gas. Okay, so that word charged should tell you that it has a negative and a positive. So it will travel here on one of those magnetic connection lines. Okay, or a CME, if it's blowing out real hard, it's still moving that direction because of the force and everything, but it still is using magnetism to move and all kinds of other things too. But keeping that in mind, we have to understand it does have a polarity. So that's why this BZ number matters. Okay, so it just comes in easier when we're at a -6 or more on the BZ. Now the phi angle is that exact polarity I was just telling you about. The solar wind itself has a polarity, right? And it flips all the time, whenever it wants, pretty much. You can see it here, and it flipped right here and then flipped back. So from negative to positive, positive to negative multiple times. Now I've seen this phi angle flip very violently before and jerk our magnetic field real quick. I've even seen it put us into geomagnetic storm level, low level stuff, but I've seen it happen before. But yeah, so, and then you got the density of said plasma, solar wind. The density here, typically anything over 4 would be considered above normal, but it usually hangs around 10 or whatever. You can have a 10 on the density and not get any kind of hit, or you could have a 10 on the density and then you factor in the speed of it, and the speed of that, if it's between, what's normal is 300 to 500 kilometers per second, but if the speed's real high and the density's low, we can take a hit. If the speed is low and the density is high, we can take a hit. So it all has to come in, and what I'm trying to point out here, guys, is each situation is different, and it has to be looked at as such. Now, at the end of the day, does it really matter how something happens? It only matters in that instance in trying to understand what's going to happen the next time. Okay? Once an event happens, once we get hit with whatever, it doesn't matter at that point. Except for we want to learn and know what to look for next time. Okay? That's why I point all that out. But again, we're falling in normal ranges and all this, and that definitely would constitute this. Okay? Nothing big here. This is all normal. We want a certain amount of geomagnetism anyway. Okay, because what that does is it puts enough particles and stuff, geomagnetism, into our system that it helps block cosmic rays. Okay, so and that's basically radiation. So the sun actually helps protect us from the rest of the universe, and it also, or solar system, whatever you want to say there. It also helps, the sun actually helps protect us from the sun. So if we got a certain amount of magnetism hanging around, and then we get a big blast from the sun, it can actually help deflect some of that. So we just want that really ambient neutral positioning and, levels of what we need to see. And that's a hard thing to wrap your brain around. I get it, guys. I don't completely understand all of it either, like I said earlier. But I do give it my, the old college try. Ain't that what they say? But I don't have no college in this, and I'm open to any criticisms. I really truly am. So, hey, what's up? Who said hello to me? Lane Lair, good to see you. Hey, Elia, see you there too. Tommy, I seen you in there too, brother. Good to see you guys. I think Becca was in here. Yep, no sheeple. BK, what's up? Okay, so let's go on to, this is the, well, before we go back to that, I do want to show you the sun right now as far as what SDO is showing us. This is a satellite that is in what we call geosynchronistic orbit. It sits over the same area. You know what? Yeah, I don't know why I do this. I do this every time. Let's this is the SDO site, guys. Here, let me I'm gonna put this in the chat here because I think it's important so you guys can go look for yourself. And you don't have to trust me, okay? Go look for yourself. That's really what you should do anyway. I'm just giving you guys the tools to be able to go do that. You know, again, I have no problem being wrong or corrected, so just so you know. Okay, so let's go here to the sun now. Actually, let's just go here to the home page. And if you go to the home page here, guys, Solar Dynamics Observatory, that is the actual satellite. Okay, the satellite itself is the observatory. It's got the cameras and the telescopes and stuff on it. So if you go to where is SDO right here, I'm going to show you guys how this thing orbits. Okay, see this? It does this figure 8 pattern all the time. It stays right above our planet in this position. It actually rotates at 15 degrees an hour, which is how fast the Earth rotates. Okay? And that's why it stays over the same spot, the same area here. They do that for multiple reasons. I'm not going to go into said reasons because there's a lot of them. But mainly so they can get get more data without being obstructed by the Earth itself. Okay, because at certain times the Earth will pass in front of the satellite in between, well, the satellite actually gets in position where the Earth is in between the satellite and the sun. Okay, so just know that. That's how this thing orbits. It's how this thing sits up there. But it's always got its eye on the sun. And you can see that by looking at here, looking at this. See this? See how it's orbiting? You can see it up here too on this top one. You can see what the satellite itself is actually doing. You see over here where it's yellow? That's the sun. That's where the sun's at. See how it's actually rotating as it's still staying in the same orbit? So when things stay in the same orbit above the same parts of our planet all the time, that's called geosynchronistic orbit. Okay, we could get into the Lagrange points and all that stuff. We're not going to do that today. It's just too much to try to do in one show. Now, so let me go back here. And that's the 304. So let's take a look at these, some of these, you know what? I'm going to go back even a little bit further because all you got to do is go up here and put the date in, guys. So I'm going to go back to the 9th. Hit submit. Usually you'll get about 3 days of data. Okay? So watch how the sun just lights up. I'm just going to let it play. See that X flare right there? Another X flare there. Here and here. They're not just coming from one sunspot either. Okay, we got multiple players here that are blasting off. You know? So, just so you know. See that right there? I want to point that out too. That is what they call a calibration roll. The satellite itself has to be rolled to protect the lens, to do whole lots of things, to find home, to make sure it's in the right position. Okay, I'm going to stop that one right there and take that back a little bit. So I want you guys to see this one. Okay, this sunspot here has been blasting crap everywhere. It blew a huge one off the backside before it started facing us. And you see that erupting right there? Now watch what happens. I'm going to zoom in because this is it's actually pretty cool. Just, I think it's cool. But watch right here. And you're going to see dark shadows in here, and I'll point it out here in a minute. Okay, so see how that changed? See, if you had the thing playing just in regular speed, you wouldn't get to see it like that, right? And that's why I'm here. I want to show you guys how to look, you know, and then look for yourself. Now, what I want you guys to understand is that this is interacting with this, and this, and this, and this, and this. They're all interacting together. Those are long distances. So watch what happens when this one here blows. Okay, so notice it starts to get bright here, but check this out right here. What's that? Well, can things happen at the same time on different parts of the sun? Absolutely. Are they always connected? Not always, but this time it seems to be. So let me show you. Okay, so we get a little bit of a reaction here and here, and then we get a big X flare. You see that? That's one of the most photogenic X flare patterns I've seen in a long time. Okay, so that one was on the 9th at 18. Now remember, guys, some of these were happening, and you know, typically we'll get activity from the sun, and then about 2 to 3 days later, that energy can actually manifest itself in large earthquakes. Okay, it contributes to all of that. So, and that's why I stopped short here a second ago showing you this one. Okay, this is the geoelectric field. They've done this because they want to tie space weather to forecasting earthquakes. And that's why USGS and NOAA are working together on this model. So what this is showing you is the geoelectric field at the surface of the Earth. Okay? And just for the United States here, it looks like. I haven't seen it for any other parts of the world. I'm sure they have them. That's a three-dimensional one on the left, but we're going to look at the one-dimensional here on the right because it's completed. This one here on the left is still in beta. They're still working on it. But you can see here how we've got a little bit of activity. Now, it's not huge right now. This is current right now. Okay? There's a little bit of a blip there, but it wasn't much. I've shown you guys this before where you see purples and whites. And why I'm pointing this out is because all this activity definitely is lending to the part of this earthquake, and they're telling you, hey, solar weather impacts earthquakes, or these guys wouldn't be working together. There's no need for it unless it's a thing. Okay, I don't see a whole lot of people showing you guys this particular model. I wish they would more. I'm not an earthquake guy. I push you guys off to, you know, Ron and Dutch and everybody else, right? So, yeah. Yeah, Tommy, I made the same mistake. Go check out her channel. Talking about CJ Blaze, guys. Go check out CJ Blaze's channel. Feel free to drop her link in there, Ilea. I think you're in here still if you want. But yeah, as a matter of fact, I don't like. Let's see here. Let me find you. I gotta find. There you are. Anybody that I'm moderating with, if they're willing to do it, I make them a moderator on my channel. Don't feel like you have to do anything, CJ, if you're still here. But there you go. You should have a wrench. I hope you got it anyway. But that's what I do. Hey, John and Spirit, good to see you, bud. And I am sorry, guys, for not, you know. So, CJ, I think you got a wrench now, so you can drop your link if you need to, or want to. Anybody that's, like I said, anybody I make a mod, they can drop links. I trust them. So, anyway. Yeah. Ready to leave some blue paint on them foreheads, ain't we? Anyway, this is our magnetosphere, right? So let me push play. And what we're going to see here, this is speed. This is the bow shock, the point where solar weather hits our magnetic field. This is just showing you speed. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because nothing much is going on our planet right now as far as geomagnetism. So this is density. White is lower density. Now, if you really think about this, inside our protection, our magnetic field, our magnetosphere, we should see lower dense material than what we see out here. Okay? Because our magnetic field's deflecting it. Okay? So that's why you see it like this. This is magnetic pressure. Now this can be all over the place. Okay? Notice how we're scrunched from, you know, looks like we're getting squeezed a little bit there. See how it's kind of oblong and not perfectly circular? A lot of times when that's happening, we're getting constant pressure from the sun. Okay? And that in itself, in my opinion, can add energy to our system and cause, or at least be the straw that breaks the camel's back to some of the earthquakes we see. Now, I don't think it's any coincidence at all to say that, hey, bunches of X flares and now a what? A 7 and a 7.6 earthquake? Okay? Yeah, and I know that the big news was talking about, you know, one on the big coast, on the west coast and all that. But we did have earthquakes. They just didn't happen exactly where we thought they were going to. And that's okay. Right? I mean, we got to talk about it, right? So here's USGS, and then we did have another 6 down here. Thank you, Becca. And you got just tons of, you know, over here in Vanuatu, I think that was where the 7 was. And then Indonesia is where the 7.6 was. Now, I want to point this one out. That's Cascadia, guys. That was today. That was a 5.0 right there on the Cascadia subduction zone. And I know we talk a lot of people talk a lot about this because, guys, when that one finally breaks off, guys, you got to understand the whole West Coast will be redefined. You will literally have beachfront property in Arizona. And I'm not, you know, I know it's a song and I know it's kind of, you know, off the cuff, kind of funny type of stuff, but it's the truth. And it's serious stuff. So anybody living out here, anybody lives out here anyway, they know about this. Anybody probably east of Idaho may not. But yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that, Kathy. Kathy, you know, that's a good thought, but I think that they probably have so many satellites out there that they use on that one. I'm not saying that the solar activity didn't have anything to do with what happened today. I don't have anything to say this, that, or the other. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to say this, that, or the other. But I do think it's a possibility that solar weather could have had, or space weather could have had an effect on what happened with the planes being grounded today. It did seem to come out of nowhere. But also, if you guys really paid attention, if you guys went over and watched Marfugel, he talked about a whole lot of other possibilities on that. Okay? Yeah, Aaliyah's in Northern California. Go check her out too over on her channel. She did some awesome weather reporting during all these storms and stuff. But yeah, so anyway, I want to go back to the pictures of the sun here real quick, because this isn't it. And I know that this stream is going to last fairly long, but I want to show you guys a whole lot of stuff here. I mean, look at all this. All you can do is sit there and watch it. I mean, it's everywhere. Did you see that one? Now, we also just had another one here just a few minutes ago. Now, I was talking to you guys about a flare versus a CME. So I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to bring this back a little. Okay, so watch what happens here. Okay, we had another eruption right here. So check out what happens. See how that kind of went across the surface of the sun? Notice how these magnetic connection lines started to light up. These things are connected. You see this? They're interacting with each other. So that means when one's acting up, the other one's probably having some issues too. Okay? Hey Ron, what's up, bud? So, if you look at this, that's the calibration roll I was showing you guys earlier. And then you see that light up. Now, you see that stick up there? That's another magnetic connection line, but that's plasma traveling on that line. Okay, now this has the choice of either coming back to the sun or getting ejected out into space. Some of this plasma got ejected out, and I'll show you here in a minute. But notice that you're still having other eruptions. So my thing here is to show you guys that things are happening all over, and they're happening right in front of us. So they're coming our direction, possibly. With that being said, there could be some stealth CMEs in here that we don't see. Okay? When they hit us, we won't know until they do, because we didn't see it coming. Now, I find this really, really interesting because I showed you guys solar rain before. Solar rain is that plasma that kind of rains back down onto the sun's surface through these big looping arches. And we're going to see some here, but I've seen some horizontal ones. It was, I've seen this before, but not to this level. And I'm not saying that this is odd or anything. It's just something cool. Actually, I guess I'll have to back that off a little bit. A little too deep there. Watch right here. Okay, so let me back it up. Oops. Okay, so watch right in here when this erupts. See that? Right here. Right in that. Well, let's do this first because I don't want to. Okay, let's back it up. Watch right here. Those lines start acting up real quick, like, see that? And how they're going back to the sun? Now that, when it flips over like that, it just started the loop over. But I wanted to do that anyway because I want to show you guys the 3 days here and the eruptions that we're seeing. Okay? So what we got here, if you watch, and I'm just going to let this play for a second. I'm not going to show you each and every detail because there's just simply too much. I've never had to say that. Now, watch when you guys see what happens here. This one, it erupts over here and up here all at the same time. Watch. I mean, it's not hard to see if you know what you're looking at. See that? Look. Tell me that ain't connected. Somebody tell me that those things are not connected. I just don't see how it can be because they're all like firing off in like a line. See that? It starts over here. So watch it. It'll move to the left and back up to the other one. Okay, see there's the start of it. Even both of these kind of lit up at the same time. So if I keep moving forward, and then you get that one, and then right after this one, you get this one. We're talking minutes later, guys. This is not like hours later. Now, I also want to show you something here, too. This little one right here. You guys see that? What happened right there? You might not have because it's hard to see because it's right in front of us. See this darker shadow? Watch. I'll back it up. Okay, so now we're going forward here. There's your little small eruption, but check this out. See that? How that lit up right there? That's plasma. Now, I can't tell if that went back to the sun, but it could have got ejected out into space. That could end up being a stealth CME. I don't know. And it's almost instantaneous. You're right, Kathy. 100%. So just understand that. Yeah. It's, you guys see how that, and I said this before, you know, whether we want to say something's affecting this, that, or the other, the fact of the matter is the sun reacted almost all over the whole front of the sun all at the same time, and this actually is off the limb. This is technically on the backside. So boom. Okay, we get boom, oops, X flare, and then up here, watch this one, and then after that one, check this out, another one. Okay, and then it just keeps erupting right there. Look at that. Now look at all this plasma rain. You can see it up here on the polar, on the sun's polar crown. It's look at that. Now that, guys, that's an X flare with the CME. You see that? I think I might have used that for my thumbnail. I can't remember. That's plasma getting shot out into space. Now, this is from our perspective. So, you know, this is not coming at us. You know, would it be grid down? Probably not. Okay, I got to be real with that, guys. I'm not going to ever tell you something that is just not being real. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's up, Adam? What's going on, brother, mother? What's happening? So, I mean, check this out. Now, guys, I called it the crochet event, right? That's what they call it, a crochet event. This rare event that happens. We'll get to that in just a second, but check this out, guys. I mean, this is just crazy all over the place. I mean, it just continually is just erupting. Okay, so let me show you guys seeds. Now, seeds is the satellite SOHO, okay, and stereo A. So SOHO, here's Earth. Satellite sits out in front of Earth about 1 million miles closer to the sun. Okay, but it's always looking at the sun, and it orbits with the Earth around the sun. So if we go to the 11th and we click on this one, this is today. This is what happened today. Boom. And then this big one down here. Check this out. Bam. That's the latest eruption. There's a second one behind it you can see. And I'll stop it when it gets there. Here we go. Right. Okay. So here's a bigger eruption. Now let me push next. See another one coming right behind it? Now, you have to understand that this black disc is an actual physical disc. It's on the camera itself. So with that being said, we don't know what's behind this disc. So when we look at things, we look for what we call a halo. And that would be basically the plasma kind of poking its energy out around this disc. And it means it could either be coming right at us, or it could be going directly off the backside. So yeah. So let me move that forward. And as we move there, go in here. And I'm sorry. I was concentrating on something there. Sorry about that, guys. But that was another eruption. So let me go back to the 10th. Matter of fact, I'm going to take us back to the 9th. Because check these out. If it shows it, we'll see. That's a lot of energy coming out right now anyway. I want you guys to see the big one that went off the backside. Maybe it was a couple days before this. Okay, that is a fairly large one. Now, this is all coming from that sunspot that just erupted again. That was on the backside. Okay, let's go back. This is how active it's been, guys. I mean, no question. You see how you get this? I'll pause it and show you here in just a second when the feature comes back. Right about. Okay, you see this like dark gray area? That's what we consider like a halo. That's a partial halo. That's plasma. It's just not really bright and intense. When you see the bright colors, that means hot. And when you see the darker colors on this coronagraph, it means it's colder. That's all that's saying. Okay, so let's go back to the 6th. And look at all this. I mean, it just started and then it just bam. I mean, it really went crazy. And back, I was over with Adam over on Mark Fugel, and I showed you guys. Well, I brought to Adam that the Bob Marley CME is what we're calling it, which I thought was awesome. That was Adam's idea, by the way. I thought it was great, freaking great, in my opinion. I can't remember what day that was. Let's see if I can't. I think that was the CME that did it. Let's see. Let's back it up. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it was. Yep, there he is. Check him out right here. I'll zoom in for you. This is some crazy stuff, man. Where's your pina colada, man? Check it out. Look, guys, you see what I just did right there, right? There was no editing to that at all. I didn't do nothing to that. It's crazy to me. You can see, I mean, wow. I laugh at that every time because it cracks me up. But yeah, when do you think all this will knock out our communications? I can't give you, hey Axe, what's up, brother? I can't give you a good answer on that. There are so many variables, guys. If I had to, I'm not even going to guess because it would just be irresponsible for me to do that. I would just say, hey, you know, what was the category of X player of the Carrington event? Yes, it was, I think it was right, I think it was a 39 or a 49. I can't remember exactly. Regardless, it was strong. Yeah, fried telegraph lines. That's what, I mean, that's pretty strong. Guys, this is something else I've not shared with you guys before, though. If you don't know nothing about the Carrington event, it was a large X-class flare that got sent our way, and it had a CME with it. Telegraphs were actually being sent through the air. Things were still making it through because we had so much geomagnetism in our atmosphere that it allowed that to travel on through, and people were able to still get their messages for a short amount of time when the system was already down. So just understand that. So that's just what it is, you know. I can't put it out there anymore. Now, if that kind of thing was to hit us again, I can't say for certain. I'm not sure exactly what the infrastructure was compared to then. I would imagine it's beefed up at least a little bit since 1859. But with that being said, is it strong enough to block all this? Probably, I think 3 to 4, I believe, Murph. Good to see you, by the way, bud. I ain't seen you in a minute. Of course, I haven't streamed in a minute. But, yeah, Adam, thanks for stopping in, man, if you're still here. Wasn't trying to, not acknowledge that, because I really do appreciate you. You know, you and Tommy and Leah and Ripper and everybody else, guys. I can't say everybody's name all the time. It's just so much love in this community. It's crazy. You know, for the subjects that we talk about can be very, very negative. There's so much positivity around us. It's uplifting for me. And to be frank, that's why I do what I do. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I've gotten real brothers out of this, and that's the God's honest truth. So how do we know if that CME was coming at us? Well, we got to get kind of like a different point of view, right? Now, this is today. So let me, this is stereo A, and stereo A is kind of off to the side a little bit. As a matter of fact, let me take you to the CME tracker, because NASA has a CME tracker, and it shows where stereo A is. Stereo A, the yellow dot here is Earth, this is the sun, and this is a top-down view of our inner solar system. This red box right here is stereo A. This thing used to be way out here. Okay? So it's not even really a side view anymore, guys. It really truly is almost from our perspective. It's a very, very slight obfuscated side view from what we already have. So it's making it harder for us to understand that what direction these things are going. Obviously, you can look at the data itself and figure that out. I'm not sure exactly how the parameters are set up for this model, but that's what's taken into consideration. They're all getting the same data. It's just each individual model takes certain data points more serious than others. Just like a hurricane tracker. You know, you guys have all seen those spaghetti models, right? They're all over the place. None of them agree with each other until it's like 4 hours before it makes landfall, right? And sometimes not even then. It's kind of the same thing here too, guys. You know, and keep in mind, we know a lot more about what's going on here than what we do with space weather. 93 million miles away, guys. A lot can happen between us and it. So, and I know that some people don't think it's that far away, and I'm not going to get into that subject right now. I happen to think that it is, and that's just my opinion. You know, but that's where stereo A is. That is another CME. Now, I'm going to show you this too. This over here is our orbital line around the sun stretched out in a straight line. Do you guys see how strong that is right there? Watch when that hits right here. Okay, we're talking the higher levels of intensity here. You see the bar graph down here? Notice you see the grays, the whites, and the darker reds and purples. If that happens 12 to 24 hours later, that hits us. So it's crazy. So, but yeah. And yeah, Brian, I wish that we still had it way out there, but these satellites are well past their lifespan. I know people be like, well, that thing should be able to. Well, it really can't, because it doesn't have the protection of a magnetic field like we do. Okay, that's why. So if we go here, this is stereo A, and this is today, the 11th. That's a fairly big one, guys. Okay, but given this, and then looking at our complete front view, and right there, okay, given both of these are going kind of that direction, I would say this is missing us. Okay, we might catch a glancing blow, but if you go over here to the CME tracker again, you can see that this is showing pretty much what I just said to you. This is a pretty good model to go. You can look at this one and the one over at NOAA, but you know, again, they have to agree with each other, and most of the time they don't. Which one's right or wrong? We kind of just use it for a guide, right? Hey, pay attention, this might be happening. And that's really what we do. That's all you really can do. We don't really have a whole lot in between us and the sun to do data collection that's able to get to us, so we can actually use it to see it, to be able to make any kind of better, decision on what's actually going to happen. So anyway, let me take that off of there. Now magnetic crochet, I'm going to go into that real quick. I don't want to go too much into this, but please go over here to spaceweather.com. Give them some love. This is where I learned this from. Okay. So let me, I'm going to paste that in the website, in the live chat. And it is in my description box. Okay. So this is back on the, I believe, yeah, you guys, if you go over here, you can change the date on whatever you're looking at here on this website. Okay. There are a lot, Dr. Tony Phillips runs this website, and he does an awesome job at this. Okay. But this is, you see these little jerks here, right? You remember I told you guys that a flare and a CME are two different things, right? Geomagnetism usually comes from the CME end of things. A flare doesn't usually do nothing to us geomagnetically. Okay? So, let me take you back here. This was a flare. Listen to what I'm saying here. This was a flare that jerked us magnetically. It's a very rare thing. Okay? And I say this because we've had a lot of rare things happening lately. Okay? So if you go over here and you look at magnetic crochet, it will tell you exactly what it is. Basically, he kind of explains it here. Radiation from the flare ionized the top of Earth's atmosphere. Okay? And the currents were able to flow 60 kilometers to 100 kilometers above Earth's surface. It says these currents, in turn, briefly altered. See, it altered our magnetic field. That's the little jerk you got there. That was not plasma. Guys, that was X-rays. Okay? Radiation. I didn't even know that could happen until I read this. So, yeah. Now, I guess if... so I wanted to bring that to you and let you know that was a rare thing. And it, is it a big deal? It's only a big deal for how rare it is. That's the only big deal it is. Nothing really came of it. But it did jerk us. Okay? It just is. Oh, comment? Yeah, Kathy, there's so many things that could be happening with all that stuff. You know, as long as the internet's been around and as long as we've all been here and what everybody talks about all the time, I try not to start talking about things that there is no way I can give you an answer on. That's why I report on the space weather, okay? Even if I thought that was what, I'm assuming you're probably talking about like the blue Kachina or something being, like that comet instead and all that stuff. But, sorry guys, I had to get a drink of my pop there. Sorry. I meant to mute while I did that. I don't like to let you guys hear that part of it. But as far as that goes, I can't give you concrete answers on any of that. And as far as I've been around, as long as I've been around, nobody else can either. Anybody, if I was to like chalk up how many times somebody said something was going to happen on a specific day, none of them have been right. Okay, because we're all still here, right? And I'm talking like the big events, okay? Nobody's been right on that. Keep that in mind. When you're watching anybody else or when you're talking to other people, if they're going to make a claim, you need to make them substantiate their claim. And that's just my advice, okay? If I can't give you concrete, hey, this is why, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to do it. Even if I think that that's what's going to happen, because at that point, it's just my opinion. And I don't want to give you my opinion. I want to give you what I think is actual hard fact. And that's why I show you guys the actual data and show you guys how to go look at it for yourself. That's my goal. As I'm here for you guys, I can give opinions and stuff like that. But when I do give opinions, you know what happens? People run with it, with what I said. And this is natural. I'm not mad about it, but they run with it and then they put it out there like I'm saying that it's absolute truth going to happen. And I don't do that. So that's why I don't do those things. That's all. Anybody who's ever set a date on anything has been wrong every time up till now. We're all still here. Oh, Grace, let me show you that real quick. That's a good question. I kind of glazed over that. I mentioned it for a minute. This one here, she's asking, I really like that map of the earthquake thing I was showing. It says, but why is Texas always blackened out? This is an incomplete model. They're working on this one, okay? This one over here, that's a three-dimensional one. This is just a 1D on the right. It's the same model. It's just they're trying to get the three-dimensional one to work and give them what they're trying to, get the model to do here. So for now, we just look at this one pretty much. But that's a great question. That's why. Also, if you guys see, like, these areas are lit up always, that's because those are bigger cities. There's more electrical components in those cities. And what this map is showing you is space weather's effect on artificial electrical components. Wires, transformers, switches in your wall, all that stuff. You guys can go down here and look. It says this web page enables a side-by-side comparison of the geoelectric field, okay, on different specifications of the conductivity. See, I could sit here and talk like that all day long to you guys, and you know what would happen? You guys would be looking at the screen, eyes all glazed over, and you would be thinking about, lunch tomorrow. You're going to go get a Big Mac. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't do that. It's just a bunch of word salad and nobody wants to hear it. Now, if you go to a higher level, like channel that expects their audience, and this happens a lot, and that's fine, expects their audience to have a certain knowledge already, then, here you go. You can go with those words because they're going to understand it, and I get it. So, just so you know, that's why I wanted to point that out. But great question. Great question. So let's go back here to spaceweather.com again. But that's essentially the magnetic crochet. I called it the grandma's son because of why. Grandma's crochet, right? And that's why I said it like that. That was just a phrase I came up with. So, so what do we got to look forward to here, guys? You know, we don't do doom and gloom here. We do awareness and positivity and love and all those kinds of things you guys want to say or whatever. But that's how we present this information here on my channel. I'm not going to go any other way with it. There's no sense in it. I'm going to be real with you when it's time to be real, but this is real. Okay, you guys can look at this yourself, and you can see that the activity on the sun is definitely ramped up. What that means for the short term, that means that the possibilities of getting bigger events is there right now. And given the sun cycle, where we're at in the sun cycle, you know, things are still going to ramp up. I'll show you that before we get off here. But you guys watch this. This is the 131 angstrom. I mean, it's blinking like a Christmas tree, guys. It's just all, I've never been able to show you the sun like this ever since I've done my channel, ever. But yeah, so yeah, Brian, that's okay, bud. You want to do bad news? You can do bad news. I'm not. It's all good, brother. All good, man. You know, and that's, you know, I'm serious. I mean, what I'm reporting on here is not bad news. This is just simple space weather. And we got to look for that bad event. And that's what we're doing. And that's, you know, that's kind of what I'm saying. And, you know, I hope that we all stay positive in all this, because, you know, when you're negative, you're not going to get anywhere. I promise you. You won't. Just saying. I mean, you know, I'm not that person that's going to go back and look at like multiple different, read people's articles, books, and all that stuff, and like, oh, they were wrong here, and here. What good does that do? It doesn't do any good. It doesn't do any good to be mean to people. It doesn't do any good to scare the crap out of people when you can't substantiate what you said. So, I mean, and that's why I don't do it like that. Now, I'm not saying Brian does that. I'm not saying that at all. Don't get me, I guess I kind of came out like that. I didn't mean for it to come out like that, Brian. Not at all. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to be real. And that's kind of what, you know, be real about it, but also be responsible when you say it. Because, you know, when people make very bad decisions when they're scared. And that's why we try to make people aware. You know, chances are when the big event does happen here, and notice I say when. It's not a matter of if, it truly is a matter of when. This is a, you know, big, it's part of our cycle. See you, Aliyah. Thanks for stopping in. But appreciate you, really do. And so as we're looking at this, you know, you can just see it ramping up. So, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about here before I get you guys off here. So if you look at their forecasting, you can see, you know, so for short term, guys, well, we actually just had another one. You see that? That's an M-class flare. It just happened. Looks like an M1. Let's see. Let me reset that. Well, maybe not. I'm not sure. Oh, those are daily maxes. Okay. That's January 10th. Let's go to 12th. Yeah. That was a C7, or a 24-hour max is M3. That one there was probably a C7, the one I just showed you guys. Didn't quite make it to M flare, but it was close. But just understand, guys, that, you know, it's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. This is the cycle, right? But if you go down here and you look at the sun cycle, their predicted values, notice that right now, this last month, December 2022, had 113 sunspots. The predicted value was 60, almost double it. If you go to what they say that the max is here, it's 115 in any given month. here at the top during solar maximum in this sun cycle. We have already hit that. We're 2 sunspots behind it for that month. Remember that, okay? But also understand, even solar cycle 24, you see this one? These were popping up over too. They were up over above what they expected. That's what that blue line is, I believe. No, those are smooth monthly values. Never mind. It's just kind of an average. That's what that blue line is. So I'm not really sure what they were forecasting back in solar cycle 24. But just know that we're above. And yeah. So anyway, this is the lifeboat, guys. This is my second channel with Tommy. He's my brother. And, you know, this is what we do. We help people in recovery. Anybody that needs help, please come over here. We won't judge you, ever. There's the link to the channel. Please come over here. Give us a chance. That's all I ask. If you guys ever wanted to do me a favor, if you wanted to do me a solid, please come over here and subscribe and stop in and watch a few of the shows. Go back and watch some of them that we've already done. Addiction recovery, you can be addicted to anything. I was addicted to pain pills. Okay? I've been in recovery for 12 years now. You know, I've never relapsed thanks to my family. Thanks, Corky. Appreciate you. But yeah, thank you, mister. It is a great place. It truly is. And, you know, me and Tommy think about it the same way, and that's why it works. We got a great family of people over there, call them our crew. And, you know, Adam and Dex over on Marfugal, they've been over and checked it out. They think that we're doing something really good, and they've got us on the friends list over on their webpage and everything. I can't thank them enough for that. But this is really important. You know, we affect people's lives daily over here in a positive way. We will never turn you away. If you come in there and you're having issues, maybe you've already just used your drug, or maybe you come in here drunk, we're not going to, you know, unless you're just being belligerent, what we'll do is we'll have to hide you or whatever, but give you our email and ask you to, you know, talk to us in the background. We'll try to help you. Okay? But, and you also notice as soon as you hit the chat over there, you're going to get welcomed by almost everybody in there. That's a promise. We never asked for that. Hey, Heather Joy, good to see you. Hey, listen, she's got a great channel too. She's just starting hers up. We've actually had a couple emails back and forth. I think I might be going over to her channel and sharing my story if she still wants me. But anyway, guys, there's that. I'll try to keep you guys updated with anything else. You know, I'm going to try to get back to doing this more often. Again, we've had the puppy, and it's really thrown a wrench in my gig here, guys. It's made me get to a point where I've had to make time for this, but we're finding our routine here as a family, and yeah, so that's what's going on here at my house. And I do hope to be able to do a little bit more posting. I may have to go back to doing a few uploaded videos from time to time, instead of Matthew Shipley too. Guys, please check out his channel. He does very, very short, like, updates, straight to the point, and he's got fiber optic connection. The definition and the graphics over there, what he's got going on, is awesome. Hey, thanks, Vicky. That's my internet mom right there. Hey, John Black, good to see you. That's right, baby. The Kool-Aid is good. Thank you for saying that. But again, guys, I will try to get back to more posting. The holidays and again, the new dog and everything. So it did have me in, guys, I do get like seasonal depression, and I'm not trying to put that out there for you guys. That's not why I say it. I just want you guys to understand why I haven't posted as much as I usually do. So hopefully you guys can hang around for me for that, but please go check out the lifeboat. I just see so many people getting help over there, and it's not me. It's not Tommy. And it's the crew and everybody around it. And it's just, yeah. Anyway, guys. So, we will, yeah. So let's go ahead and, we'll end it on this one here. Okay? So, God bless. Yahusha saves. You could drink this Kool-Aid.